So let's talk about the final project for a bit. We referred to it in the previous slides, but let's go into it in detail. So the idea is that you're going to build your own simple Bitcoin-powered crowdfunding site featuring your own product. The idea here is that when you've got 100,000 final projects, this presents unique problems. You want to allow automatic scoring and ranking, but also some room for creativity. You want to enrich beginners but challenge advanced students, and you want to complete it within a relatively short course period, yet simulate as much of the founding process as possible. And after a lot of deliberation, what we're doing is we're combining Self-Starter and Bitcoin. You can read about them over here. And what you're going to be doing is, over the course of a quarter, programming your own Node.js version of Self-Starter and adding in social sharing, Bitcoin, and your product. Graphically, you can think of it as this is the official Self-Starter open source project, and you're making a personal version of this to teach yourself some web programming, but also to teach yourself many of the other aspects of sort of building a startup and customizing things and marketing things and whatnot. And the social sharing aspects are relatively straightforward. The Bitcoin aspect is pretty interesting. The concept is that we're going to grade the technical aspects of that final project, but not the qualitative aspects. So, for example, we will grade the fact that you've got your Hello World site up successfully at a URL and you've deployed it, but not the name of your domain. Or we will, for example, grade the fact that you have your social and payment integrations up, but not the look and feel of those integrations. At the very end, the ungraded part is the number of social shares and number of Bitcoin that you've raised, but this is really for your bragging rights. All these things in terms of quality are for bragging rights and for the quality of the product if you want to take the class very seriously. So you choose the product, the text, the video, design, and all the qualitative aspects in the Self-Starter. We can only auto-grade the technical parts, but we allow your creativity to shine through. The reason that we choose Bitcoin in particular is the class is international, but it's also, and so in that sense, Bitcoin is very good because you can do payments across borders and so on without transaction fees. Everyone can get a merchant account set up within days. They don't need to apply for a bank. So for a project that's teaching startups, pedagogically, that's extremely useful. But it's also very good for this particular application because Bitcoin transactions are world readable. We can see, for example, all of the money that was donated to this particular address by simply going to a site like blockchain.info and seeing that this particular person at this address received money at the following times and in the following amounts. So we can see when they started. So in this fashion, for example, we can look at the Bitcoin address associated with your project and see exactly how much you raised in what time and in what quantities and make sure that people aren't gaming the system. There will also be a leaderboard. So for example, here, example.com is ranked number 1 in the genomics category. We're ranking currently on the basis of the number of Bitcoin raised in their crowdfunder, but one could also rank, for example, a number of tweets or Facebook shares involving example.com. If we ranked by tweets, then example2.com would actually rank number 1, and it would also be number 1 in the law category. So let's talk about categories for a second and prizes. Before we do that, let's talk some other comments. So we're going to review Bitcoin in great detail later in the course, but you can start by clicking these 2 links to go and obtain some Bitcoin and so on. But importantly, buying Bitcoin, it's not needed to pass the course. That's completely optional. The final project is just meant to be hard to game. For those who want to do something real, you can. And the thing is that gaming the process of getting a lot of money into your Bitcoin account is a lot like running a profitable company. For those who don't want to do a real money crowdfunder, you can maximize the number of Facebook or Twitter shares instead. So let's talk about prizes for a second. We're going to have prizes at least 4 categories. After you fill out the survey, we'll likely add more. And you choose your category when you enter the leaderboard, which will go live later in the class. As I said, this is kind of for bragging rights only. What we'll do is rank order prizes in each category by the end of the class. To be counted as a winner, you would have to be in one of the high positions on the last day when the leaderboard is frozen and the winners are announced. Remember again, you don't need to participate in the public leaderboard to get 100% grade in the class, and you don't need to use Bitcoin to compete in the public competition. You can complete solely on the number of social media shares, but I like this as a concept because those who want to take the class very seriously can actually simulate a lot of the process of starting a company, raising money, and building attention for the product.